Welcome to Funnel Hacker Radio Podcast, where we go behind the scenes and uncover the tactics and strategies top entrepreneurs are using to make more sales, dominate their markets, and how you can get those same results. Here's your host, Dave Woodward.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Funnel Hacker Radio. This is just, we're about a week after Funnel Hacking Live, and I'm so appreciative of everybody who came up to me and said they've gotten value out of this podcast. Really means a ton to me. I've been doing this now just over a year, and you never really know if it's of any value to anybody out there. So I appreciate all those who came up to me and said they've gotten value out of this. It really means a lot to me. I appreciated the suggestions. I'm going to be trying to do more of some of my own insights and things. That seemed to be one of the things that I had a common thread. People like to hear more of some of my travels and things that I'm learning, so I'm going to try to do that on a weekly basis. This will be one. You'll probably get a couple of them here real quick. Real fast, if you wouldn't mind, it'd mean a lot if you could go and give me a rating and a review on iTunes. Just go in, basically, again, hopefully it's a 5-star rating and a review, but that obviously helps more people find out about this podcast. So if you don't mind going to iTunes and give me a rating and review for this podcast, I'd really appreciate it. So with that, let me just dive into a topic that I've been thinking about so much recently, especially a lot, obviously, just having come back from Funnel Hacking Live, and that's this whole concept of entrepreneurial freedom. The freedom as an entrepreneur is one of the things that at times I don't think people understand the value of an entrepreneur. The amount of freedom that you create, not only for yourself, but for other people, literally can create a legacy. And it's been fascinating for me to see as I met with entrepreneurs literally from around the world who have now become just dear friends of mine just because of the value that they've created for other people. I was talking with Russell, it was late one night as we were trying to get ready for Funnel Hacking Live, and we were trying to kind of come up with a mission for ClickFunnels or kind of what our purpose is. And we ended up coming up with this idea, and Russell actually used it in one of his slides. So there's 3 different things that we look at as far as what ClickFunnels does for people. The very first thing is ClickFunnels was designed to give you the tools to free yourself. And for those of you guys who don't understand the power of ClickFunnels, you guys weren't creating websites or autoresponders or things like that 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago when things took months to get created. It probably goes as a little bit of an understatement as far as the value that's actually there. But most importantly, to understand the whole idea behind ClickFunnels is really to provide entrepreneurs freedom. And that first freedom is really to free yourself. As an entrepreneur, one of the most important things is you got to go out and you free yourself financially. That financial freedom comes in a host of different ways, and because everyone's number is different as far as what that represents. For some people, financial freedom is $5,000 a month. Others, it's $10,000 or $20,000, or for some, it's even more. But realize there's a number that provides you the freedom to then either quit your job or to pay off your debts or to help someone else out. That idea behind entrepreneurial freedom is really what ClickFunnels was created for, is to give you, first of all, the tools to free yourself. Second of all, is to give you the education to create your future. This has been one of the biggest things, again, why I'm doing this podcast, is hopefully that through this podcast, through our Funnel Hacker TV episodes, through all the massive content that Russell continues to provide and create, that through all this content and education, that we're creating the value for you so that you can use that education to create the future that you desire and the future that you want. For some people, it's not to leave their job. That's not the purpose. But for others, it is. For others, it's to have enough money so they can adopt a child. For others, it's to be able to take care of their parents. There are so many different things that creating your future and what it means to you is unique. But that's really one of the things we strive to do, is to provide you the education to create your future. The third thing, which has really become, I'm hoping those of you guys who attended Funnel Hacking Live, you've seen the importance of this to us, and that is to give you the vision to impact the world. This is probably, as I take a look at where I am in my life, financially where I am in my life, by my age and just everything else, it's really trying to create more of a legacy of impacting the world so that I've got 4 boys and a beautiful wife who I just adore. But most importantly to me is I want to have an impact. And for everybody, that's your vision of how you're going to impact the world is unique to you. But that's really one of the things we look at. You've seen and will continue to see quite a bit of our involvement now in Operation Underground Railroad. We ended up doing the trailer at Funnel Hacking Live and actually ended up showing the full documentary that I'm so grateful for Nick Nanton for creating that. And obviously, goes without saying as far as Tim Ballard and all that he's done to work in that industry. But realize that for everyone, you have your own idea as far as what it is, as far as impacting the world. For ClickFunnels, for every single funnel that gets published, we end up donating $1 to Stu and Amy's McLaren's World Teacher Aid. And we've been doing this literally since we began. And I'd encourage you guys to really identify what is your purpose and what it is that you want to, what impact are you going to have on the world, and how is your business and how are you personally going to be able to impact that? I had the opportunity of talking with my boys just the other day about the value of tithing. I've been a huge believer in tithing, and whether you look at this from a religious standpoint or whether you look at it as a financial blessing in your life, there is something psychological as well as spiritual that takes place when you give away 10% of whatever you make. For one, I think psychologically and mentally, it allows you to understand that you can live on less and that you're not living paycheck to paycheck. I personally believe there's a ton of spiritual blessings that come into play. And no matter what your spiritual affiliations might be, realize that if you are not currently tithing and giving 1/10 away to whatever charity or cause that you feel, I highly recommend that you do it. You'll find that, one, you get more inspiration. I'm a huge believer that the universe rewards you for that. And whether you refer to it as the universe or to God or whatever it might be, I believe that as you think less of yourself and ways that you can help other people, that there's a karma that exists. And you'll find that, and I say, again, I wouldn't do it just for that reason, but I can tell you that in my personal life as well as in the lives of literally thousands of people that I've met with when I was doing financial planning years and years ago, or when I was working as a bishop in my local congregation, there is such a massive amount of blessings that come to your life when you understand that money isn't the driving force for you. And so I'd highly recommend that you and your business or you personally find a way to impact the world, whether it's financially or whether it's through your time or whatever it might be. But that type of entrepreneurial freedom, that's why you're doing what you're doing, is to have more of an impact on other people than just yourself. Realize that other entrepreneurial freedom that we talk so much about is your own personal mission of what it is that you've been sent here to do and the vision that you have and how you can impact literally the lives of, if not hundreds, thousands of people. I believe that every single one of us has a purpose here, and you need to be able to find out what that is. And for us, it's really one of the things we look at is we want to be able to give you that vision to impact the world. And I hope that you're understanding this as I'm trying to convey this to you in a way that I'm a huge, huge believer in a God who exists, who is there to help and bless the lives of his children. And I think as you go out and take upon yourself that same opportunity to bless other people's lives, that I know just as a dad of 4 boys, when one of my boys does something else nice for their brothers, it's I just want to find some way of helping reward them for that. And I believe that our Father in heaven works the exact same way. On a different note, I want to talk to you also about an entrepreneurial mindset that exists. For those of you who live here in the United States, I think at times you take for granted the power of the freedoms that we have here and the opportunities that exist as an entrepreneur, where you literally can go 100% all in to make something happen. And if for some reason it doesn't work and you have to file bankruptcy, our laws were set up in a way that allows you to be freed from that debt to then start over and do something else again. Where that same freedom, debt forgiveness, doesn't exist in other countries. My oldest son, Chandler, just got married in January I finally have a daughter. I'm super excited about it. Fran is from Chile, and it was fascinating. She was at Funnel Hacking Live. It's her first experience of being at one of our events, and it was really kind of a crazy thing. My son Chandler ended up signing up for our 2 Comma Club X coaching, and is basically paying it for himself. This isn't something the dad's doing, something he decided to do on his own. I didn't know until I got back to the hotel room that he'd actually done it. But it was interesting to see for my son Chandler, he basically completed a sophomore year of college and decided, you know what, Dad, I'm just done. I want to go out and be my own boss. I want to become an entrepreneur. And the irony behind it is I spoke at BYU where he was attending school with one of his professors, Nick Greer, who happens to be the CEO and founder of Scipio. And Nick was his entrepreneurial professor. And once he found out that Chandler wasn't coming back to school, he asked if he could hire him, and he did. And it was fascinating to me. So Chandler's now working for Scipio. But while Chandler was at Funnel Hacking Live with his wife, Fran, it was Fran's first experience having grown up in Chile, not having a lot, and coming from a single parent home, where her whole environment and understanding was that entrepreneurs in Chile were those people who basically couldn't make it. Her mom is a seamstress and is an entrepreneur and basically did everything she could to provide for her and her two other sisters and her son, her brother. But Fran's idea of an entrepreneur was entrepreneurs are those people who didn't have a college education. They were the people who weren't able to really get out from the burdens of finances and everything else. They were the people who basically just scrapped and scraped by to do whatever they could to make it. And so to have Fran witness hundreds of entrepreneurs walking across stage, having done over $1 million in a funnel through being part of our 2 Comma Club coaching, or our 2 Comma Club winners, and then to see 15 people walk across stage who had done over $10 million in a funnel was just mind-blowing to her. She's like, I cannot understand this. I can't believe this. And it was fascinating to me. I was in the gym with Russell and James on this Monday, and was having this conversation with them about this idea as far as the purpose of an entrepreneur and the entrepreneurial freedom that exists, and was relating to them Fran's experience. And James goes, oh my gosh, Yada, who is his girlfriend, she grew up in Mexico City. And when she first met James, it was the exact same thing for her. Yada said, I've never known of an entrepreneur who actually made money. And she goes, James, it's so weird for me to see you making a ton of money as an entrepreneur and being having this kind of success. I just can't relate to that. Well, irony is you fast forward, a few years later, all of a sudden Yada has her own business and she's gone through and is a very successful entrepreneur herself. My only reason in pointing this out to you guys is to understand that as an entrepreneur, your whole object and your whole purpose is to create freedom, financial freedom, time freedom. While we were at Funnel Hacking Live, Brandon is a guy who basically runs Instaprints and does a lot of our swag and stuff. And he created a new ClickFunnels shirt, which basically has ClickFunnels and the gears as the place where the stars would be on the United States flag, and then have the stripes. And underneath that was true freedom. And I look at, that's really what ClickFunnels exists for, is the whole purpose of creating true freedom, entrepreneurial freedom, the freedom that allows every single person to go out and create and do and become more. I just love the opportunity of meeting so many of you who literally came in from around the world and are having massive success in your own right and are teaching and are working with and helping other businesses. And I think that that's what the whole purpose of this is to go out and to create freedom for people. So I appreciate the freedom that you provide to those people that you serve. I encourage you to go out and get as much freedom for yourself financially as well as time freedom as possible so you can then bless the lives of more people. Have an amazing day and just know how much we appreciate each and every single one of you. And I can't thank you enough for the support that you provide to all of us. One of the things that means a ton to me is the personal reviews that you guys leave on iTunes. If you wouldn't mind going out, rate the show. Let me know how I'm doing. Just go to iTunes, click on the episode and rate it. Leave a comment. I read all the comments. I appreciate all the stars and everything everyone already left for me. Again, I really appreciate it, and it's my way of finding out how I'm doing. So if you don't mind, I'd really appreciate it. And again, thank you so much for all that you guys do. Have a great day.